The number one thing I get asked is, what do you eat? And then it's followed up by, okay, and what do you do when you cheat? So I'm going to share my personal food rules that keep me on the straight and narrow, the foods that I make sure I eat every single week, some every single day, and why I think cheating is just the total wrong way to think about things. And honestly, it sets you up to fail and puts you into that crazy diet mentality that drives me nuts. I've had a good day, I had a bad day, I'm having a cheat meal. So we're going to deal with that too. And so here's how I do this. I start with protein first. So as I'm building my plate, I always start by building protein first. I want to eat protein first because I want to prioritize protein, make sure that I get in what I need at each meal, which is at least 30 grams and at least 100 grams overall in the day. Now, the way I dose my protein is to do a range of 0.7 grams to 1 gram per pound of target body weight. So I'm weighing in at 145. I eat about 140 to 145 grams of protein a day. And I divide that again between the 3 meals. And I make sure that my bumper meals, breakfast and dinner, are where I really make sure I get it. Again, all meals have at least 30 grams, but those are where I load more of my protein in. In the morning, I'm breaking that fast. And in the evening, I'm making sure that I have some protein on board. So while I'm sleeping, I'm minimizing muscle protein breakdown. So there's the reasons for it. Also, there's more to it. When you eat protein first, it is more satiating. The umami taste actually makes you eat less too, and it helps with blood sugar balance, and it is the most thermic of all of your macronutrients. And remember, while where your calories come from counts most, calories count. Too much healthy food is, guess what? Unhealthy. So that's the first rule, protein first. The second one, what comes after protein? Non-starchy vegetables. Now my goal is minimum that you eat 5 servings of non-starchy vegetables a day. Now, what does that look like? A non-starchy vegetable serving is a cup of raw or a half a cup of cooked, and non-starchy vegetables are things like onions and mushrooms and deep green leafies and broccoli and cauliflower and Brussels sprouts and asparagus and peppers. Here's what's important here. Why are we eating all these non-starchy vegetables? You've heard eat from the rainbow. You know, is this just some cute little phrase? No, the reason that we have you do that is because of the polyphenols, these different plant nutrients in these vegetables that go and feed your gut microbiome. And so you have a better balance of the bacteria that you want as opposed to the ones you don't want. You're always going to have some of the good and some of the bad. You want much more of the good. So that's the first part, those polyphenols that do all sorts of stuff. They're antioxidants, they can be anti-inflammatory, they can be gut healing, all sorts of amazing things. The other thing you're going to get from these non-starchy vegetables is some fiber. And we're going to look for getting fiber within our diet all throughout our diet because we want to get minimally 35 grams of fiber a day, ideally 50 grams plus. Non-starchy vegetables are one of the starting points. You're not going to get a load from non-starchy vegetables, but you will get some. And remember, fiber is the fuel for your gut microbiome, right? It feeds it. And whenever we can get prebiotic fibers like onions, garlic, then we also give the fuel for the good bacteria to feed off of. Okay, so that's the next part. We went protein first, non-starchy vegetables second, at least 5 servings. I really try to hit 10 or more, and I'm always looking for a diversity across the day, 10 different types of plants throughout the day. Spices count, thankfully, otherwise that might be a little tough. And then 50 throughout the week. Next up, fruit. 2 fruit servings a day. The only time I break this rule is if I'm going through the sugar impact diet. Now, I've already done that. I've already figured out where my sneaky sugars were. I got rid of my sweet tooth. So this is for you. You do the sugar impact diet. If you've got this sugar sweet tooth, you're like, I cannot get rid of it, or you've got issues with blood sugar imbalances and insulin sensitivity, etc., then you do that. And there'll be 2 weeks in there where we drop your fruit down to basically 0, except for lemons and limes, non-fruity fruit. Besides that, I want you eating 2 servings of fruit a day and prioritizing berries because Not only do they have that deep, rich color, but they also have the polyphenols. And you get a diversity by having blackberries and blueberries and raspberries, not eating blueberries every single day, right? So 2 servings of fruits, about a cup. So it's a big apple, it's a cup of berries every day. Next up is hydration. Hydration is super key for your body to be able to be metabolically flexible, use fat for fuel, to help with hunger, to help with detoxification. Turns out if you're only even mildly dehydrated, we're talking 1%, that's way before you actually feel thirsty. Your body can start to break down glucose and turn it into fructose. This is really bad. It's like going the wrong way, and store that fructose as fat on your body. Okay? Just like a camel stores fat to be able to get through the desert, your body will do the same thing. We do not want to do that, right? And it turns out that every time that you drink some fluids, especially water, you're going to boost your metabolism a little bit. In fact, it can be as much as 30% for 30 minutes. So, iced green tea, black coffee in the morning, sparkling water, drink this all throughout the day. Here's your goal: 1/2 ounce per pound of body weight. This is not target body weight, your actual body weight. And then you add in more based on exercise. You add in 1/2 ounce to 1 ounce per minute of exercise. And go to the ounce if you're exercising somewhere like I live in Florida, hotter and sweatier here, right? I do hot yoga. I'm definitely going to the ounce plus there. Okay, so that is hydration. I especially like you to focus on doing that in between your meals. Get up in the morning, start your water, then have your black coffee. In between your meals, do your iced green tea. Before a meal, bonus points. If you do your iced green tea, put in a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar because it's going to lower the blood sugar response to the meal. Simple little hack. Okay, and then we're going to talk about timing. Now, just brief on the timing because I could do a whole video on this. In fact, I did. I'll guide you to this at the end of the video. But what you want to think about here is making sure that you are not doing what Dr. Sachin Panda found out was that, some crazy percentage of us, I think it was something like 90% of them, is wait about anywhere from 1 hour to 3 hours after waking to eat. I think, 90 minutes to 2 hours is really a sweet spot, because you want to give your body time to wake up. Cortisol's coming up. It's waking back up your pancreas, getting insulin going again, right? So you want to do all that. So you're waking up, you're seeing the sunshine, you're starting to drink your water, then you're adding in the coffee, and then have your first meal. Eat every 3 to 5 hours. You do not want to be a continuous feeding machine, right? You want to eat, let your blood sugar come up, have insulin bring it back down to normal, give your body time and rest, then eat again. And do your 3 meals a day. You can compress it to 2 if you're careful about your protein. If you want to do a bigger autophagy trigger, again, I'll stop eating 3 to 4 hours before bed. Because if you eat too soon before you go to sleep, it is going to impact your sleep. And test it and track it. I know I've tested it enough times. I know what happens. My deep sleep is a mess. I'm hot, I'm sweaty. It's just awful. So you're going to stop eating 3 to 4 hours before bed. And remember, you're eating every 3 to 5 hours. So think about it. You might wake up at 6:30, eat breakfast around 8:39, eat lunch around 1:30, eat dinner around 6, go to bed at 10. Super easy. And what we also did there was we took your feeding window and we made it somewhere in the 9 to 12 hours. And that should be your just every day. Again, I will guide you to learning more about intermittent fasting and how you can use that as a dietary tool here and there. But what I want you to really focus on as a hard and fast rule is eating within max a 12-hour window. That shouldn't be called intermittent fasting. That should be called how we should normally eat like we used to. Right? With those timing windows of waiting a little bit when you wake up, stopping eating before bed. Okay, there you go. Timing. Next up are carbs and fat. Now, when you think of protein we eat for function. This is going to help us build muscle. This is going to help us make hormones. This is going to help us with bone health. Now, carbs and fat are for fuel. Right? And I'm trying to think, I think Don Layman says this, Dr. Don Layman, that you have to earn your carbs. There's a baseline of carbs that you're going to have, but here's what's interesting. You cannot live without protein, fat, and fluids. You can't, but you can live without carbs. I'm not saying that you should, and I'm going to show you how they vary. But what I make sure of is that the carbs I get every day are from those non-starchy vegetables and from those 2 fruits. And that's going to put me somewhere around 50 grams of carbs, depending on how many. I really try to push my vegetables up, so I get to more around 70 grams. You're going to be somewhere in that 50 to 130 grams a day. If you've got adrenal exhaustion, if you are working out a lot, remember you're earning your carbs, bring it up. And you're going to get your carbs from as close to nature as possible. This is where you want to really think of more whole foods, lentils and legumes, hummus, wild rice, winter squashes, root vegetables, beets. So that's where you would put the carbs. And then the healthy fats, what I do is I'm eating clean animal protein, so I know I'm going to get some healthy fats there. I'm using extra virgin olive oil with my vegetables when I'm cooking, so I'm getting my healthy fats there. I may add a little bit of whole fats like avocado or nuts and seeds, but the reality is with how I'm eating, I'm not really needing to add much more than that. I'm throwing in some freshly ground flaxseed meal into my shake, so I'm getting in some whole fats. I'm eating the fats from animal protein, and then I'm using extra virgin olive oil as I'm prepping things. You can also do ghee or avocado oil. The reality is when you do that, you probably don't need to go, oh, I need to add more fat, especially if you're female and you're looking to be able to burn off fat. You don't need to add more, burn your own. Let's talk about things that I make sure that I get into my diet each week.